Hello, and welcome to the May Chancellor's Town Hall at UW Tacoma. My name is Joe Lawless. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer in the Chancellor's Office, and I'd like to thank you for participating today through YouTube. Since we can't get together in Phillip Hall, but we're looking forward to being able to do that again next year. So we start our meetings at UW Tacoma with an acknowledgement of the land where UWT is situated. So we recognize that all of us at UW Tacoma learn, live, and work on or near the ancestral homeland of the Coast Salish people. In particular, our campus is situated on the traditional territory of the Puyallup. As people on this occupied territory, we have a responsibility to acknowledge the land, the ancestors who have cared for this land since time immemorial, and all our Indigenous connections today. We also have the responsibility to acknowledge the histories of dispossession and forced removal that have allowed for the growth and survival of this institution. In light of this history, let us take active efforts to partner with our Indigenous community members and neighbors as we continue our work together as a community of learners, leaders, and educators. Thank you. So the way this is going to work is that if you have questions you would like addressed, please email them at any time to uwttownhall@uw.edu. I've got a question in the queue. Please feel free to send it if you're watching this live, or if you're watching this later on and have a question that you'd like to have answered, please submit it to that email, uwttownhall@uw.edu, and we will work to get you an answer. So I would like to introduce those with us on the Zoom call this month, and they are Chancellor Pagano, Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Jill Purdy, and Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Mentha Hines-Wilson. So Mark, would you like to kick things off?
Sure. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for that land acknowledgement, and also thank you for the nice introduction for everybody. So let me also welcome everybody to what's going to be the last town hall of the spring quarter. I believe we may have some town halls continue over the summer because there are so many things changing all the time with the getting back to school, getting back to the workplace with the reopening of campus next fall. So we will see you again, but this will be the last Chancellor's Town Hall of this quarter. So as we've said, even as difficult as it was to leave campus last March, and we remember how stressful that was on everyone, it's even way more difficult to navigate us getting back on campus this fall, returning to a new normal. You know, it is going to be difficult, but there are a lot of positive things happening around us right now. COVID cases are going down. The state's starting to open back up. Schools are reopening, and slowly but surely, we are returning to some degree of normalcy. Also, remember the searches and the construction projects that we were talking about last fall seem so difficult and so far off in the future. We hadn't done searches like this, in a pandemic yet. But, those things are moving forward, and they're moving forward very well. So let me start with some of those things that are going really, really well in my view on our campus. Now, for the technical folks, my computer just told me I was signed out. Is that true? Can you all still hear me? Okay, well, I will keep going. So first of all, it keeps telling me, I'm sorry, folks, my computer keeps telling me that I'm kicked out of the meeting, but if I'm still here, I'll keep going. So first of all, let's talk about the budget situation. As you all know, the governor did sign the budget last week, and it is really, really good news. Last fall, we were talking about a $9.8 billion shortfall in the state revenue forecast. Essentially now we're to a balanced budget. That's remarkable. We're even looking forward now. It's not all the way through the approval process, but we're looking forward even to a 2% compensation increase this year. So the budget situation has really turned around. That being said, we're likely not to do a lot of new things on campus. We are going to be conservative and just hope for the best. With the state situation, though, we're essentially able to move last year's budget forward and not make any reductions or furloughs or any layoffs or anything like that. So we're really excited about that. We may have an opportunity to fund just a couple little continuing items along the edges as we figure out the interim positions and things that we need to get the campus back up and running in the fall. Also, in our executive budget committee, we're not completely done with our work, but right now we're moving towards kind of an internal stimulus package of one-time funding for the campus to compensate for some of the things that have happened, economic conditions with respect to COVID. So look forward to that. We're likely to put about $1 million of one-time funding, maybe even a little more, into the campus operations to stimulate the return back to campus this coming fall. Also, because of that, we will probably have limited carry forward this year. We'll carefully look at all the carry forward requests so that we can replenish our campus reserves that have been suffering a little bit because of the losses and the loss of income coming to our campus because of the COVID. But speaking of reserves, we're in pretty good shape. Even with the $6 million of losses, the stimulus packages have helped compensate for some of that. We've been very frugal with our expenditures this year, and we started the year pre-pandemic with about a $20 million reserve, and we're estimating that even after all that we've done through the pandemic, we hope to have about $19 million, $18 or $19 million still in the reserve to hand to the next administration, which is a really good figure. Rule of thumb is conservative rule of thumb is to have about a 20% reserve, and our budget is around $80 million. So that would be $16 million, and we're going to be able to hand over more than that in a reserve. So things are going well with respect to the budget. Likewise, all those construction projects, I've talked about them in depth at other town halls. I've actually showed some slides of those. Those are going well. I came in yesterday and kind of took a tour around campus. Now, if you were to go over to Snoqualmie and Tioga, and I know many of you do, it is a little bit chaotic right now, but that always happens as you kind of mess things up and then put them all back together in a remodeled, beautiful space for our students, faculty, and staff next fall. So that's going well and on schedule. The engineering labs, the demolition phase is almost done below us, and the construction phase, putting them back together, is starting, and that's going to be done on target and on schedule. So that's exciting. The Office of Community Partnerships, they're just putting the finishing touches on. That will open as campus opens. And Milgard Hall is going really well. We're nearing the 80% design completion already, and we'll be breaking ground on that as early as the end of June. And the estimates right now are that that building will be complete next November, a whole year from now, and then ready to open for business in January 2023. Searches, the Chancellor search, I'll let Mentha or Joe mention that. There are the 3 dates that have been circulated, so hopefully you're reserving time on your calendar for that. Vice Chancellor for Finance Administration is off and running. We had our first candidate last week, and the second candidate and I think third candidate are coming this week. It's going very well. We have 5 wonderful finals to take a look at, and we'll keep moving that forward. Jill has announced her intention to step down from her role next September. So we are working on an interim solution to that position and still working on an interim solution to the deanship of SIS. And I know Mentha has a senior search going on in her area for Associate Vice Chancellor for Enrollment, and she can mention that when she's talking. So all that is going well. And I just want to say one more thing is we work at a primarily in-person institution. And I know we're all struggling with some of the unknowns, but you know what makes a Husky experience, what really makes it special is what happens on our campus. And that's especially true for UW-Tacoma. The vibe of UW-Tacoma is unlike any other campus in the state of Washington. In fact, it's probably unique in the United States, the vibe and the feel we have here. So we are looking forward to being primarily an in-person institution next fall. Now, this doesn't mean that we won't have situations and we won't have places where everybody won't be in person, but we will be moving towards that as the summer progresses, and we will feed information out as much as we can, whenever we can, so that everybody knows what the situation will be as we repopulate our campus and prepare for in-person. And we realize that we need to do this together. We can't do it in isolation. We won't make decisions as an executive team. We'll gather input from the faculty, staff, and students, and we'll move forward slowly and completely safely. But we want to announce now that our intention is primarily in person, to give everybody a chance to think through that, to plan, to organize and prepare their offices or their classrooms for primarily in-person instruction next fall. So to hear more about that and to hear more about what's going on campus, let me turn now to Dr. Jill Purdy and give her the second.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to just say a few more words about what the Chancellor has just shared with respect to returning to campus in the fall. Our case counts have been falling. The vaccination rates are up. We've got vaccines available now for older children. Signs are pointing to a safe return to something that looked like normal for us in the fall. And as the Chancellor said, we are an in-person institution, and the Huskies experience is really about coming together as a community. Our community is vibrant, and so much of our learning as students, but also as faculty and staff and community members, comes from our chance to connect with each other. Sometimes those serendipitous occasions where we bump into someone are just incredibly meaningful moments and opportunities. So bringing our community back together for growth and sharing and opportunities to learn is something we're really excited about. It looks like many of our students are excited about it already. A recent survey conducted on campus showed that many students were looking forward to a chance to come back to be on campus, to have their college experience, learn from their peers, learn in their community, and connect to staff and professors in person. So we're excited about providing that opportunity for folks. We really are grateful and want to recognize that the past 14 months have been challenging for everyone. And folks just did an incredible job of adapting. We're really excited about the opportunity to move past that while retaining a lot of the wonderful things that we've all learned from our experience, that we've learned about ourselves and about our technology and about the kind of experiences that are valuable to us. So in moving on from that topic, I just want to also just take a moment to say that we had an incredible, wonderful spring celebration last week. And it was really a nice thing to be able to share a moment of celebration in community with about 100 other people from UW-Tacoma. At that ceremony, we recognized the winners of our teaching, research, community, and staff awards. We had an opportunity to say thank you to a number of folks who are retiring. So congratulations to all of those folks. We also had a really special opportunity to enjoy a bit of a reunion among founding faculty and staff as we recognize that the campus has just passed its 30th anniversary. And as an old timer on campus myself, it was a real joy to see many of those folks again and to reflect on how much we've grown and how much we have developed as part of this community. So I will take an opportunity then to just say thank you to everyone for all you've done through this challenging year, to say congratulations to those we recognized and celebrated, and pass the microphone on to my wonderful colleague, Benta Hines-Wilson.
Well, thank you, Jill. And hello, everyone. So I'm happy to provide an update on leadership transitions, Commencement 2021, and Orientation 2021. So as Mark mentioned and as Jill mentioned, there are significant transitions happening on the campus, but I would like to assure everyone that the Vice Chancellor's team and the Associate Vice Chancellors or Assistant Vice Chancellors, we are in conversation, having very thoughtful, detailed organization in terms of succession planning. So while we are at a loss in terms of seeing Mark depart and seeing Jill depart, we know that the work that they've done has laid a very solid foundation for everything, and that we are going to rest on that foundation, shore it up, and be even solid and more sturdy so we can welcome the new Chancellor and the new EVCAA, as well as a couple of other positions that are currently being searched. So in terms of the main event, the Chancellor, we're all excited about the Chancellor's event, and I'm a part of the search committee, and I'm happy to share that there are 3 candidates that have been put forward. So 3 candidates will be visiting the campus, and the dates are as follows. So I'll pause a moment while you grab a pen and pencil. So the dates are May 27th and May 28th. That's when the first candidate will be joining our community and expressing their interest in leading UW-Tacoma. The second candidate will join us on June 1st and 2nd. And then the third candidate will be with us on June 7th and 8th. Stay tuned for more information. There will be a communication that goes out within the next couple of days that details all of the planning and particulars. You can also pop onto Mark's blog or into the UW-Tacoma Chancellor site, and there is information, scanned information right now about the candidate visits, the composition of the search committees, and the schedule as I laid it out for you a moment ago. But again, those dates are May 27 and 28, June 1 and 2, and June 7 and 8. Another search that is generating a lot of interest, particularly in my area, is the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Services. So we had a really, really strong pool, just like the Chancellor search, a really strong, deep, diverse pool. And of that, we were able to interview 4 individuals, and we are now getting close to making the decision. So stay tuned. By the end of this week, we will button up all of those details and then make an announcement to the campus community regarding the completion and the hire of a new Assistant Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Services. So really, really great news on that front. EVCAA, again, we are working behind the scenes, lining up all the details, being very careful, thoughtful, and attentive to all the details. Stay tuned, more information to come. But the most important thing to know is that we are not losing any ground. We are not in a weakened position at all. We remain firm, and you can look to me, Joe, James, Ali, and Dr. Moderis, and others to continue to guide us along until we bring in our Chancellor and others. Now, in terms of commencement, more excitement, just so much excitement as we gather to salute the 2,000 students who are eligible to graduate this year. So our communities will acknowledge the graduates in 2 ways. The first is through a drive-through celebration, and the second is a virtual commencement. So jot this date down too, June 11th, 10 a.m. That's when all graduates will join us or have been invited to participate in the first ever drive-through celebration at the Puyallup Fairgrounds. Right now, you're able to take a look at the website. The website provides information related to the celebration and all the activities and logistics and expectations and checklists also associated with commencement. In terms of the celebration, this will be a festive event which will provide graduates with the opportunity to decorate their cars, wear their caps and gowns, obtain a specially designed souvenir just for the class of 2021, and have a commemorative photo taken by a professional photographer. Along the way, the graduates will be cheered by volunteers. So we're going to follow the guidelines that were shared with us by UW back in March, as well as all the current state and safety guidelines that are in place. So that's going to mean that only 1 vehicle per graduate will be allowed into the fairgrounds. We will conduct a temperature check prior to entry into the fairgrounds, and face coverings must be worn by all attendees at checkpoints and when exiting the vehicle for the photo. Graduates, you can also schedule time to come to campus and have celebratory photos taken at designated celebration zones that will be located across the campus. So I want to thank all the graduates for your patience, for engaging with us in those community conversations, for brainstorming with us about the various ideas that we could be creative within the context of the pandemic. And so we're excited that you're excited, and we're just going to cheer you on at that celebration. For more information, please refer to the website. We will update it on an ongoing basis. And in terms of commencement, that next day, Saturday, June 12th, the university will host a virtual commencement, and it will be streamed at 10 a.m. I mentioned it's a sizable group. 2,000 students are eligible to participate. So it takes a lot of time, many, many months to plan and prepare and confirm all of the logistics. So graduates, families, and friends will experience many of the time-honored elements that you would find with commencement. There'll be the introduction by the faculty marshal, the procession of our graduates, the singing of the national anthem. There will be inspirational remarks from our president, Anamari Kase, and our chancellor, Mark Pagano. Also, a student speaker has been identified, and our own ASUWT president, Vincent Daw, a graduating member of the class of 2021, will introduce a new tradition. So where can you find more information? Go back to that commencement website. All the details are outlined there, and we will update it on a weekly basis. For the class of 2020, we have not forgotten about you. We also have a plan in place for you too. We need to finalize a couple more steps, but as soon as it's confirmed, please take a look, or you'll see it posted on the website. So I keep referencing the website. That's going to be the best location for up-to-date information. And as always, you're welcome to contact me directly. You can send me an email message or call me within the office. I'm happy to talk to folks as those inquiries come in. So the last thing that I'll mention is related to new student orientation. So we are saying farewell to one class as we welcome a new class. So colleagues within the Office of Student Transitions in Success are planning for in-person orientation sessions for all new students. In-person orientation sessions, all new students. We're using that time to introduce students to the campus community and its resources. We will also provide access to vaccine clinics during these sessions in light of the new vaccine verification requirement. So save the date. Got more dates for you. Hold on to that pen and paper. So orientation will take place on September 17th, September 19th, the 21st, the 22nd, and the 23rd. Many orientation sessions to be able to accommodate all of our new students, but also practicing and following very closely those safety guidelines and requirements that include distancing and the wearing of a face covering. And the last thing I'll say before I hand it to Joe is that as a reminder, the admissions team is still working to bring in a new class. So if you're aware of students that are interested in UW Tacoma, or perhaps you want to introduce a student to the possibilities of attending UW Tacoma, the application deadline is June 30th. There is still space in the class for new students. And transfer students, the deadline is July 1. All of the great telephone calls, responsiveness, the email messages, just really being upbeat and supportive to students, particularly during this time, has been helpful. We're seeing many more students expressing an interest in coming to our campus, but it's not done until they confirm. So thank you, colleagues, for all that you've done thus far to help us bring in a new class and all that you're continuing to do. And one more point of personal privilege. I typically begin all these conversations by thanking everyone for the work that you've done thus far. And so I'd like to end my remarks today by saying thank you. I'm incredibly grateful for all of the work that folks have done that has been visible and not so visible. I also acknowledge that transitioning back onto the campus feels a little uncomfortable and a little unsettling, but that we can do this. So take it one step at a time, be in contact with your supervisors. The campus is indeed safe. Our buildings are safe. And we are taking extra precaution to make sure that all the details have been lined up so that we too are feeling more comfortable, vaccinated for those that are interested in receiving vaccine, making that available. So thank you. Lean in, take a look at all that documentation, get everything in good order, and I look forward to seeing you on the campus in September. Thank you. Your turn, Joe.
Thank you, Mantha. So I've got a couple of things that I want to update you on, and then I will go to our Q&A. And actually what I want to update you on is kind of taking off of what Mantha said. I've said before that, you know, when we kind of very abruptly left campus and went remote, we didn't have much time to plan, and we did it. We made it, but now we have some planning time. So there are 2 committees on the Seattle campus, Back to Work and Back to School. We've replicated that on our campus through what we call Back to the Future, which is both of those elements. There's been a big team of campus leaders from across campus meeting for the past year, kind of talking about how we will return safely. You can imagine that there's a lot of moving parts to that puzzle. So what we've done is created 2 Q&A sessions coming up, one for faculty and one for staff, but I will say that anyone can come to either one of those. Feel free to attend either one. We did it that way because we think faculty questions will be more about the classroom, staff questions are going to be more about the workplace, so we've split it up that way. So the first one, the Q&A session for faculty, is on June 2nd from 12:30 to 1:30. You should have received a reminder about that, but we will put it in the follow-up to this meeting. The link to that. And the staff Q&A session will be on June 9th from 12:30 to 1:30. Both will be recorded, both will be posted, so if you can't attend during that time, you'll still have an opportunity to hear what has been happening. The thing with that is that will be a point in time. I've said that these sessions will probably be heavy on the Q and light on the A, because we have a lot of questions right now, but the questions are important. I encourage you to submit your questions because it will inform the work of the Back to the Future committee, and we need to know what people's concerns and questions are. So we will work then, but then what we're going to do is the follow-up from the Chancellor's Town Halls this year has been the Tacoma Together newsletter. We're going to convert that newsletter to use it to follow up throughout the summer as we learn more, as we start to solidify more in details for how we're going to move forward and how we're going to come back in September safely. We will be communicating with you on a regular basis throughout the summer. So pay attention to your email throughout the summer, and we will get you those answers. Speaking of back to school and back to work, you'll remember last year we created safety plans for each of the operational areas across campus. We're going to be working to update those safety plans based upon our current information. Susan Wagshall-Golden and I will be looking through those, offering suggestions to people, but you're the experts on how your areas operate, and we'll be looking to work with you to create those safety plans. So stay tuned for more information. We're going to try to communicate as much as we can throughout the summer on what's happening, because there are a lot of moving pieces. So questions. Let me start with the first question, which was, as we transition back to in-person services, is UW-Tacoma open to having instructors allow students the choice of continuing to do their courses remotely? So this would be for Jill.
Well, let me just say that we are coming back in person, and we have addressed the fall schedule as an in-person opportunity. And our hope and expectation is that it will be safe and comfortable for folks as we transition over the next 4 months to come back to campus very much as things once were with respect to how we offer instruction. Because our face-to-face experiences are just so important and so valuable for all of us. And our students are excited about coming back to campus. There will continue to be opportunities for students to take hybrid and online courses. And just like before the pandemic, these courses are offered only by instructors who have been through training for online teaching. And so if you look through the time schedule for course registration, you'll see some courses that have these things annotated for them. So for students who are looking to have more of a virtual experience, those opportunities will be there. They will just not look like what emergency remote instruction has looked like over the past 4 quarters now. Our faculty are not going to be expected to teach in person and provide online classes and access as well. So in this case, if a student needs an accommodation, then we would invite them to contact disability resources for students to ensure that their needs are being met.
Thank you, Jill. So I've got 2 questions for Bentha about commencement. So the first one is, I think you addressed this already, but I'll ask it anyway. Now that Governor Jay Inslee has a new COVID update, will there be an in-person commencement by any chance? Second one is, when will we receive our commencement booklet?
Wonderful question. So for the first one, you know, as you can imagine, planning commencement is like planning one big party. So there are lots of elements that are associated with it. You've got to reserve the venue, you've got to take care of all the contracts, you've got to make sure that things are vetted, and there are lots of many elements associated with it. And so as much as we would have liked to have in-person commencement, we're just not going to be able to at this moment in time. We really would have needed to have all those details lined up back in April. So it's unfortunate, but we do have the celebration. So the celebration does allow us to have the in-person experience. So I would encourage all students to fully think about that and to join us on that day. It will be incredibly celebrative. Is that a word? Festive. How about that? That's better. It'll be incredibly festive. And you'll see a number of faculty and staff there to support you. And again, faculty members, I want to put out a call for volunteers. Reach out to Brianna because we're looking for folks to help us in staffing that particular event. And the second question, Joe, was when will we receive our commencement booklet? So the commencement booklet, there is a draft of that that's being reviewed. And so on the website, the actual date will be posted. So I know that I've made reference to that website on multiple occasions, but it really is the place to be. So we're 4 weeks out. We've got a couple more things that require some added detail and attention, but the commencement booklet, there is a draft that's available. The final one will be live shortly.
And then the last question that I've got, I think you probably have the most up-to-date information on this as well, Mentha, and it's about vaccine proof, which I want to give a precursor to that about our vaccine clinics too. So the question is, well, let me give the precursor first, and then I'll ask the question. So the precursor is that we have on-campus vaccine clinics scheduled. The first one we've had 3 already. The upcoming first one will be June 16th, and then there will be another one which is a Wednesday. There will be one that Friday, June 18th, but then every Wednesday through July and August, we will have in Phillip Hall vaccine clinics. I will post more information about the times for those. They don't require insurance. They are free. What else? They are for anyone. If there are members of your family that you would like to bring, if you have neighbors, if you run into someone on the bus, bring them with you, and we want to get as many people possible vaccinated. The 2 flavors of vaccine being offered are Johnson & Johnson, which is the 1 dose, which you have to be 18 years or older to get that. The other is Pfizer, which is a 2 dose, and you have to be 12 or older to get that. I've seen a fair number of staff and faculty bringing their younger children in to get vaccinated. So that's awesome. Keep up the good work on that. We will push out information about those clinics, but just plan on every Wednesday from June 16th through the end of August, we will have vaccine clinics in Phillip Hall. So, and that's thanks to our partners and friends at Multicare Health System. The question is, though, Mintha, related to vaccines, any update on vaccination proof requirement? I know the vaccine will be required, but will documentation be required, or will it just be an attestation?
Excellent question. So at this moment, it is indeed an attestation. So just as a reminder, before the start of the autumn quarter, all students, undergraduate, graduate, will need to verify that they've been vaccinated unless they are claiming a medical, religious, or philosophical exemption. So the information is available, guess where? On the website. And then there will be an intake location where a student can enter their information, their UW email address, and then provide us one of three options. You'll provide us with information about whether or not you've been vaccinated and the name of the which particular one, then, or as Joe likes to say, which flavor. And then if you have not been vaccinated, then you express to us why you are requesting exemption for medical, religious, and philosophical purposes. And then that information will be gathered. Limited access. Not everybody on the campus will have access to that information. It will be monitored through Hall Health, which is located on the Seattle campus. So stay tuned. We wanted the information out there so that people were able to plan in advance. The more details and nuances and intricacies and the actual form is being developed. The thing that I want to reinforce is Joe's message that we have provided a number of different opportunities for students, for faculty, for staff, and our surrounding community. So anyone that's in the area, please come on down. It's been a really worthwhile endeavor. We have some UW Tacoma students who also have been helping in terms of being greeters, and there are a couple of individuals who have volunteered to be vaccinators as well because of their nursing credentials. But at the end, we want you to know that there are options available. So every Wednesday, come on down, and the new students, you too will have access during the orientation program. Okay, I hope that helps to answer the question.
Great, thank you, Mantha. So that is all of our questions, Mark. I will turn it back over to you to wrap things up.
Well, thank you, Joe. And I noticed we were all talking very positive, talking about the bright future to come. And I don't want to let go of that because that is the case. I believe that we are headed towards a bright future. And if we think about it, as we approach commencement and saying goodbye to another cohort of students, and we're going to be nearing 30,000 UWT alumni, it is a happy time for them. It's a happy time for all of us, a time that they and their families will cherish for the rest of their lives. And I continue to hear countless stories, anecdotes here and anecdotes there, as I learned about the two Truman Scholars and what's going on in their lives, as I got a chance to look up close and personal with the Chancellor's medalist, the President's medalist, as I meet students on campus and their families. The stories are unbelievable. Our advancement team and the communication team is featuring stories of our upcoming graduates on our webpage. These are remarkable stories that are transforming lives. And essentially, also, we are transforming the city of Tacoma and this region with UWT and a UWT education. So this is all very good stuff and a lot of hope for the future. But we do still need to acknowledge the very difficult time that many others are having. And Jill did mention the stress, the exhaustion of our faculty, staff, and students. That is all real. The pressure and suffering that's gone on during the pandemic, there's been grief, loss. Families have lost loved ones. There will be internal scars on many people's lives of things that have gone on during the pandemic. Also, the economic hardship is real. It's very real. And unfortunately, those that were hit the hardest were the ones that already were most financially challenged. Also, we have to admit the social injustices continue at a relentless pace. The anniversary of the George Floyd murder is tomorrow. All of these things cause triggers. They cause pain and anger in our community. The Israeli and Palestinian conflict. Oh my goodness, we all have pain and empathy with the loss of life there and the destruction of people's homes and livelihoods. Our hearts go out to all of these people. It's a horrible tragedy, and we can't lose sight of that either. So it's kind of with mixed emotions that we come to the end of this quarter. We want to be happy. We want to be joyful and celebrate the students that are going out into their new lives, and we should. And we should look with hope about the future and coming back to work and being with our colleagues again. But we can't forget about all the other situations around us. So I'll leave you with that thought. We will have to do this together. You know, nobody can do this alone. And I meant to mention this too. When we come back, it won't be by ourselves. Our colleagues will be here. We have the team that's looking after town hall, looking after back to school, back to work. We will do this very safely, and we'll do it together. So first of all, I want to thank everybody who attended today. I know there's so many things going on, but we do appreciate you tuning in and hearing the updates from campus. I want to thank the technical team that always makes this work. I was a little worried there for a second. My computer was telling me that I was going to be kicked off of Zoom, but that didn't happen. So thank you, Tim and Zach. You do such a fantastic job. And I want to thank my fellow panelists. Town Hall, Joe, you do a great job. Thank you for everything you do. Mentha, I'm amazed by how well you explain all that stuff. You are a fantastic partner to do Town Hall with. I want to give a special thank you, though, to my friend and partner, Jill. Since last time she has announced her intention to step down in the fall, she has been an outstanding partner. I couldn't ask for a better partner to help lead the campus with her for these past 4 years. The knowledge and experience she has with the academic mission of this campus was invaluable to me as the chancellor. So I want to thank her. She already walked into the job with the trust of the faculty. She's been a great leader. So keep track, keep watching. We will figure out a time that we can celebrate in person this summer. We want to celebrate her stepping down, but we also want to celebrate she's going back to Milgard School, where she was a founding faculty member, awesome teacher and colleague. So good things coming to the future of UWT, just in different packages. So thank you all for being here, and tune in again. We'll be having other events like this soon to keep you updated with what's going on at UW Tacoma. Have a good rest of your week and a good rest of the day.